Hi, welcome to the Newsy Knitter. I'm Steph, and this is the very first episode of my knitting podcast, or I guess video cast. Welcome, it's great to have you. I'm finally jumping in the game after listening to knitting podcasts all the time, and I wanted to start my own. I plan to talk obviously about knitting and probably some other assorted fiber crafts, and also news. In addition to being a knitter, I am a video producer with a digital news network and a paralegal studies student, so I'm probably going to talk about some of those other things that are interesting to me, a little bit of what I've been reading, what I think is really good for you to look at out there, and, just what's going on in my life. So thank you for watching, and let's get started. First up, Knits in Production. I'm going to talk to you about some of the projects that I'm working on right now. My first one is, let me grab it here. This is the Jules sweater by Julie Hoover. Knitting it in Cascade 220. I think you can see here the light's pretty good. It's this lovely dusky purple color that I really like. It's a short sleeve sweater knit in reverse stockinette, and I think it's going to be really nice this summer. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area, so I think it was like 60 degrees here yesterday. It's not very warm, and I really think a cute little short sleeved pullover that can be layered is going to be a great addition to my wardrobe. I just finished the hem. I don't want to give away the secret sauce, but I really like the hem shaping. It's short row shaping to give you this curved head that's hem that's kind of a little bit longer in the middle. This is the back piece. Yeah, and it's got these nice symmetrical cables on either side. I'm in the middle of the bottom decreasing right now. I'm not quite halfway through, so that's where I am on that. What are some of the other major projects? I am working on a present for my mom, so Mom, if you saw this on my social media and you're watching, please stop for like 3 minutes and then come back. And this is a Christmas stocking. This is a personalized 1945 Christmas stocking by Ray P. Burbank. There's a little backstory to this. My mom and my dad and I all have hand-knit Christmas stockings. My grandmother and an honorary grandmother made mine. My dad's mom made his, and a friend of my mom's family made hers. But hers was knit in this really kind of fine fingering weight, so it really hasn't held up for all these years. My dad's is a little worn too. It's knit in a worsted wool. Mine were knit in what I'm gonna go on a limb here and say it's some sort of red heart type acrylic, and will probably survive the apocalypse intact. But my mom has been wanting me to make her a replacement stocking for a while. She hasn't been able to use hers in at least 15 years, maybe longer, and I know that's been really sad for her, to not have it when we all do. So I'm making one that is the same as the original design. You can see here, her name says Susie, put the year, and I've gotten through the really, really creepy decorative children chart. It looks like the Silence from Doctor Who. It was really creeping me out to knit these. And then I'm started, you can see here, some stitches fell off, but I'll fix that. Started on the Santa Claus chart. So there's one more chart to go in the leg with that. There's a Christmas tree chart, and then moving to the foot, which is just plain stripes. And I'm knitting that out of Wool of the Andes by Knit Picks. And I'm using 3 different, there's a cream cloud, and a red, a green, and a blue. I don't really remember all the names, but I'll put them on my Ravelry project. So if you're interested, you can look them up. The other thing I'm working on for me as part of two knit-alongs. This is part of Stash Dash 2016 and the Geeky Girls Knit Summertime and the Knitting is Easy cowl. So this does not look like much right now. It's the Carillion tank top by Olga Burjana Kefalion. I'm probably mispronouncing her name, I'm sorry. But it is from an issue of the Twist Collective. It's been on my queue for quite some time. And the yarn is Art Fibers Ginkgo, which is now discontinued. I bought it probably 3 or 4 years ago on a visit to Art Fibers when they were up in, where were they? Somewhere in north of here, north of Oakland, off of San Pablo Avenue, and I don't remember exactly where. But this was a really lovely silk blend yarn. You can see all the beautiful blues. This is my favorite blue right here. It's really a great dark blue. It kind of makes me think of the TARDIS. Obviously, I'm a Doctor Who fan, but it's really really pretty. I really enjoy it. And this is coming along pretty quickly. I forgot to say that the Jules cardigan is also, all of this is for Stash Dash, obviously. It's my first year. I didn't plan ahead, so I'm just really hoping to hit the 3K mark. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm at about 1,600 meters right now, so we'll see if I make it to 3,000. But the Jules cardigan is also for Camp Loopy, project number 2. I did a lovely shawl for project number 1, and so hopefully we'll have this for number 2. And because the theme this year is pirates, I've got little skull stitch markers that I'm using for my piratey goodness, even though I don't know many pirates who wear lilac sweaters. And the final knit that I've been working on this week is another thing for my mom. Mom, go do something, even though she knows about these. These are her Florida State fan socks. She and my dad are both Florida State alumni, and they love to go watch the football games. So this, she sent me the red yard for this. It's from Unplanned Peacock Studios. It's their twisty sock yarn in agate. She got it at SAF, the Southeast Area Fiber Festival, I believe it is. It's held in Asheville, North Carolina every year. That's where my parents live. And every year she goes and does Christmas shopping for me, even though she's not a knitter. And sometimes, as you can see, she finds some yarn that she likes and picks it up with a request. So really can't deny that. And the gold in this for the garnet and gold. The gold is Knit Pick Stroll Tonal in Field of Poppies. And just using a little bit, but I'll probably use the rest of the skein to make a sock for myself. I don't have any finished objects to show you this week. I did have one I finished not too long ago, and I was going to show it to you, but I forgot to bring it over here. So now I'm not. Sorry. See if I can knit and talk at the same time. Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle of starting a bunch of new things. I finished some stuff up at the beginning of Stash Dash, and I'm hoping to get some other things finished fairly soon, but I'm kind of really in a sort of knitting progress phase, not much finishing being done. So let's move on to some of the non-knitting content that I hope to share with you. So let's start out with, I'm going to call the headline news section. I kind of talk about some things that I'm watching or reading related to what's happening in the world this week, and kind of recommend them to you. I'll hot link these on YouTube with their annotations, and I'll also put links in the description so that you can check everything out. I'll try and put links to everything I can down there. So I think obviously the biggest news this week everybody knows about is police shootings. The deaths of Alton Sterling and Philando Castile, who were both shot, unarmed black men shot by police, and the subsequent protests by Black Lives Matter movement all over the country, of course in Baton Rouge and Minneapolis, but also everywhere else. living in the Bay Area, I work in San Francisco, I commute through Oakland. I definitely saw a lot of protesters out on the weekend. I saw them as they were sort of taking over the 880 freeway, and also know that today there's an action in San Francisco. I believe they've blocked one of the off ramps from 880. So, there's a lot of things happening. Clearly, a lot of people are very upset right now, and understandably so. This is really tragic, and of course, I don't know that anybody could have missed, but the shooting in Dallas of the police officers by someone during one of these protesters. As far as I know, this person is not at all connected to the Black Lives Matter movement. I just want to make sure that that's clear, that they were, from all information that has come out thus far, they were acting alone on their own accord. And so that's been a lot of what I've been reading about this week. Don't really have many specific article recommendations at this point because everything is still kind of shifting and changing in terms of what information we have, but I do really recommend that if you aren't already, check out the Dallas Morning News. They're really great, and they've been doing a lot of coverage of this that really puts it into the context of what has been happening in Dallas itself. One of the really great tragedies of this is that the Dallas Police Department, by all accounts, has really been getting it right in terms of dealing with the protests, but also, reforming police interactions with the community. And so it's really tragic to see someone attack what was really shaping up to be quite a success story. So there is that. The other big news stories that I wanted to recommend, one is reading, one is watching. For reading, there's an organization called the Marshall Project that covers criminal justice law. Obviously, since I am also a paralegal student, it's something I'm very interested in, and wanted to recommend their most recent article, which is on private prison transports. This was a collaboration they did, and it was written by, let me see, my notes are over here, obviously. It was written by Eli Hager and Alyssa Santo, and you can find it on the Marshall Project's website. It really takes a look at one element of the privatization of our prison systems, which is the use of private transport companies that are really dangerous, not just for prisoners, but for the guards that are hired there as well. It's a pretty difficult read. I'm not going to lie to you, but it's really engaging, and actually, got me thinking about something that I've never really questioned before. I never really thought about how often prisoners are transferred or how they get from one prison to another. I think I just sort of assumed, like most people probably do, that there was some sort of official arrangement, and that is not really the truth. There's a lot of things, and it varies by state, and it's definitely super fascinating piece that you should check out. And then finally, I was watching a documentary on Netflix. I love Netflix. I really probably would not leave my house if I didn't have to some days, because there are so many great things to watch. But one of the recent ones that I watched was a documentary called Poverty, Inc., which is by Michael Matheson Miller. He's the director-producer. It's a look at the problems with the way that we handle poverty and charity, particularly to third world countries. It's definitely not in America. I thought it might be an America-centric doc. It's not. It really is looking at the problems of international aid. They talk about Haiti. They talk about Africa. It's a really good. It's on Netflix streaming right now, so you can, if you have that, you can just go ahead and watch it. It's a really eye-opening look into how a lot of the established ways we have of addressing poverty on a global scale really don't work. They make us feel good if we're the ones giving money, but they don't actually create a solution to what is a systemic problem, and in many cases actually make things worse for local economies and local people. So I definitely recommend giving that one a watch. It's, it's not cheerful, as you might see a trend here in my media habits. They aren't necessarily very cheerful, but there you go. This is what I do. But it's not all that I do. Everybody has to have something lighter in their life, so I will be moving right along to a section I would like to call the funny pages. For those of you on the internet who are under the age of 30, there was once this thing called newspapers that you got delivered to your house with the news printed in them, and in them they had a section with comics, which some people refer to as the funny pages. I'm pretty sure that nobody does that anymore, and I sound like your grandpa, but your grandpa was cool, and I like calling it funny pages, so that's what I'm calling this segment. Which is about the more fun things I watch. It's a little sparse right now because it's summer, so a lot of the shows that I watch regularly are off the air. They're in hiatus, and that's great. But again, Netflix, it's a beautiful thing. Oh, my cat Padma wants to say hi. Hi, Padma. Yes. Padma's very chatty. She has a lot of things to say. See? But, where was I? Lighter news. First of all, exciting Star Trek news. Sulu is going to be gay in the new Star Trek movies, and I am so excited. So homage a little bit to George Takei, of course, who played the original Sulu and who is gay himself, although he actually has said that he doesn't really like this, because he thinks it would mean that Sulu has been closeted for the rest of the time, and I totally understand his perspective, but I also agree with Simon Pegg, who pointed out that if you add a new gay character to the Star Trek universe, then it's just going to be the gay character, and they're probably going to be defined a lot by their sexuality, while having Sulu be revealed to be gay is really taking a character and showing that they're defined by something more than their sexuality, and also it's not really a big deal in the Star Trek universe. And John Cho has been totally on board with it. John Cho is awesome, and everyone should love him, and we should cast him in everything because he is amazing. But I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to see what they do with it. And as I believe it was John Cho pointed out, this is a reboot. They've changed a lot of things. Uhura and Spock weren't dating in the original. There's a lot of differences. So, I think that having this universe have Sulu being gay is great. And, I also think it's a really cool, somebody brought this up online, that it kind of gives you this idea that there's all these multiverses, and you probably are, if you're straight in this one, you're probably gay in one of the others. And I think that's a really interesting way to kind of conceptualize sexuality and self. So I'm really excited. I was looking forward to the next movies anyway, but this makes me even happier. Other media that I've been watching, Criminal Minds Season 11 is now on Netflix streaming, so I've gone through the entire thing. Criminal Minds is the only show that I can't get on Hulu because CBS hates Hulu, and so it's the one show that I have to wait all year to watch on Netflix. I cut my cable cord years ago. It's just too expensive. But this is the one show that I really miss. This season was so hard. Morgan has always been one of my favorite characters, and so it's really sad to see him leave the show. I'm really glad they didn't kill him off, though, and all the best is from Moore and his future endeavors. I will definitely look forward to seeing him in whatever he does. This season's been really good. I really like the new character, Tara Lewis, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do. I think they've had a lot of growth lately for Reed and for Garcia, and I really enjoyed seeing that. So yeah, I'm don't know how I'm going to wait until next summer for season 12. The other exciting Netflix news is Jurassic Park is on Netflix. I'm so excited. It's the original, and I watched it last weekend, and it holds up. I wasn't sure because sometimes I watch movies that I loved as a teenager, and then I wonder why I made such terrible life choices. But this one holds up. The special effects hold up, the acting holds up, the story holds up. Um, it's really good. Ellie Sattler has always been one of my heroes. So she was one of my first television heroes. And we will not talk about the inexplicable crush on Jeff Goldblum phase. Really embarrassed about that. Don't really know what was going on. But Jurassic Park holds up. I'm gonna watch it a million times, as many times as I can before they take it off streaming. And if you too like 90s sci-fi, you should definitely know that you can now stream it. Even if you're like me and you own it on DVD, but you're too lazy to walk to your DVD case, open one up, and put it in. And so you just watch whatever's on streaming because you don't have to get up off the couch. Yep. All right. I think that brings me to the end of the show today. I know it's kind of rough, a little bit light. But I'm just getting started, so I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you like this, I do plan on doing this weekly, so hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for what's coming next. If you want to follow me somewhere else, I am Steph G. Whiteside on Twitter. That's Steph with a PH and Whiteside, just like it sounds. And I am on Ravelry for all my knitting projects as Quirky Knit Girl. So you can check me out there as well. I try and keep my projects updated as much as possible, though sometimes it doesn't happen until they're done. But I am going to try really hard to make sure that I'm including all the yarn and I'm using any modifications that I make, and posting, of course, photos when I'm done. So thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again.